In a gaming landscape full of nice, fun games that hold my hand, that make me feel important, that challenge me just enough to make me feel good once I win, I'm left with a troubling question. Why am I so in love with games that hate my f***ing guts? Cruelty Squad is a 2021 game by Consumer Soft Products, with the entire game being developed by Finnish artist Ville Kallio, who describes it as, quote, a sadistic game born almost entirely out of spite. You play as this guy who is a fucked up, detached loser doing his current job contract killing people in a grotesque world where death has little consequence. It describes itself on Steam as an immersive power fantasy simulator with tactical stealth elements set in a sewage-infused garbage world. Let's address the elephant in the room. This game is abrasive to look at. The colors are bright and loud. There are seemingly random textures all over the walls and floor and ceiling. Every character is grotesque. There's shit on your screen the entire time. I can't describe it any better than just showing you what the game looks like. So some reasonable questions a player would have when booting up the game might be, why does it look like this? What am I supposed to do? Why is everyone mean to me? And maybe most importantly, what the hell is going on? To explain this, I'm going to very briefly run you through the new player experience. There's a short intro where you're naked in the shower and get a call telling you that you work for this guy now, and that you should adjust to a more corporate mindset. You can then select levels, one of which is the tutorial. The tutorial is the only friendly area in the game. You're told how to shoot, how to peek around walls, how to crouch, how to do all the good basic stuff you'd expect from this kind of game. You are then told, with no further explanation, press tab to open the stock market. The stock market, you find out, has 3 sections: stocks, parts, and fish. You then boot up the first mission where your boss tells you that an executive of a company has been embezzling money and using it to gamble on highly speculative biological currencies. You load up the level and are put on the outside of the building where your boss tells you, well, haha, good luck. And if you open the door that's right in front of you, you are chased by guard dogs and promptly gunned down by their owners, at which point your corpse explodes and you are told that the divine light is severed. You are a flesh automaton animated by neurotransmitters. You try again. After that, of course, you get a little bit further. Eventually, you might realize that there's this ladder outside letting you enter in stealth. You quickly find out that one mistake means you die. You can't take very many hits at all. Honestly, dying in this game feels like Dark Souls. Death is intended, it's a minor setback which only really has the consequence of pushing you further into debt, so mechanically it seems similar. You try, learn, retry, get further, learn more, until eventually you beat the level. But here's the thing, it feels worse. That should be a downside, but there's something special about this kind of fabricated, over-exaggerated suffering in games, right? I can't make this video without talking about Dark Souls, so I want to point out the huge influence Dark Souls had on games in their difficulty. Dark Souls offered an experience which, at the time, felt more purposefully punishing than any of its contemporaries. People talked about the game online and in person so much, anything difficult started to be referred to as the Dark Souls of blank. Even people who had never played the game still talked about it. It was viewed as this dark, sadistic game that wanted you to suffer, but people also saw it as a masterpiece. IGN puts this view into words pretty well. Most developers take pains to protect you from failure. From Software turns it into an art form. It's special because you feel bad playing it, but you get some satisfaction out of it, right? You're positioned as the underdog. You only have a few people to help you, but you slowly build up your strength, defeating things more and more important and powerful. All 3 games end with you determining, to some extent, the fate of the world. That's their ending. It's a player choice, the last one you make, and no matter what choices you make, you feel strong. It's a good feeling. The tone, the presentation, the legacy of the game turn it into this hallowed experience. The game takes itself so seriously that it's convincing when it threatens you. It does a good job hiding how much it cares about the player, but obviously this whole triumph is carefully crafted. After all, the whole experience of the game hinges around the fact that the player feels special, feels righteous for their suffering. Sure, there are the hollows that tried and failed before you, but the world is out to get you, and it was out to get them, too. Cruelty Squad, on the other hand, is set in a dystopian hyper-capitalist future. People found the cure for death and then immediately commodified it. Then they commodified death itself. You are a hitman who works for a legitimate organization. NPCs might start running around in circles if there's fighting near them, but aside from that, they don't care about you being there with a gun. They aren't alarmed at what you're doing even a little bit. In fact, the NPCs in this first level might talk about how they hope somebody kills the boss who you're about to kill. They might casually comment on the breakthrough on splicing rat DNA with humans. They might comment on how they were just at home playing Gorbino's quest. They might just say, "Holy fuck, you're ugly." This is why dying over and over feels worse to me. In Dark Souls, you're a husk that the world is out to get. Everything in your way wants you to fail, die, and give up. In Cruelty Squad, the world just doesn't care about you. They don't care if you kill their boss. They don't care if the people around them die. Hell, they barely care if they die. You can strike up casual conversation with your targets. You can kill anyone and they come back. So go ahead, finish your mission, get your money, sell their organs on the black market. Nobody gives a shit. Enemies have protection because their time is valuable, but not because they don't want to die. Death is a brief setback for them, an inconvenience. The only punishment for you dying is, after enough times, your boss berates you for, quote, hogging the genetic recombinator, and forcibly gives you a new, uglier body that can take more hits. So, if you haven't heard about Cruelty Squad before, you're probably thinking, why the hell would you play this game? That is, in fact, the starting mentality of most YouTubers and streamers when they boot it up. The problem is, there are 17,000 reviews on Steam with an overwhelmingly positive rating, meaning above 95% of people liked it and would recommend it. What's the secret? Is it a big joke that everyone's in on? Kinda, yeah. Fans know how the game looks and sounds and is, and they definitely play it up. I'm kind of playing it up right now in this video. And part of the reason is that this is interesting. It's harsh and mean, but it's visually distinct. The world sucks in a way that's equal parts bizarre and grounded. Above it all, though, the game is just really fucking fun. Cruelty Squad's levels are open-ended playgrounds, and you can approach each mission in like an infinite number of ways. The gunplay's snappy, there's cool movement options, pulling off something crazy, or finding a perfect route feels really, really good. The game doesn't give you any kind of encouragement whatsoever outside of like a dollar amount, so when I pushed forward and beat levels, I did it for me. No other reason than because I wanted to. I'm gonna try and avoid significantly spoiling the game, but this good feeling, this element of being hungrier for more clearly and obviously plays into the game's messaging and themes. You're a killer, a freak, a monster, but in the context of the world, you're a normal careerist with one of many reasonable jobs. And eventually, Cruelty Squad became, in my mind, a normal game that I played for fun. The game rightfully demeans and satirizes the career grind set, while simultaneously requiring you to embody it if you want to proceed. The further into the game you get, the more you want, and the more horrible you feel, and the more you agree with the people berating you. So, the game hates you, and at this point, you can't help but kind of agree. Vile Kallio, the developer, often embodies a similar tone to Cruelty Squad in interviews or posts. This makes sense. After all, he wrote the game, but it's almost too fitting to see him tweeting, "Trying not to hate my illiterate idiot fans so much." A different tweet, this one from the brand account, jokingly encourages other game developers to tell their fans to fuck off. This is advice he has taken to heart. If somebody presents criticism of any of his games that he feels is unfounded, he will probably either insult them or tell them to quit. And it's great. People generally really like him for it. There's an obvious honesty in these responses, I think. Literally anybody who creates something on the internet gets hundreds of stupid comments from people who think they're smarter than they are. Being confident enough to tell them to quit the game or that their frontal lobe isn't developed, candidly, is cool and honest. Because he also appreciates fans, he retweets fan art and answers questions about his games and seems really happy to talk about any design decisions. In an interview with GameDeveloper.com, Kallio was asked about the gunplay and the balance of the action. If something wasn't fun for me personally, I would change it. A question about the overwhelming visual style was met with the response, I simply tried to make something that looks good to me. I really love these answers. They're obvious maybe, but they're kind of exactly what I wanted to hear after playing the game. The world's indifference towards your character in some way reflects the creator's attitude towards you. Who cares if you enjoyed it or not? You got to play the product of a developer trying to make their own favorite game, and somehow their own favorite game looks like this. It's refreshing and honest and real. What do most people like can be a good-natured question, but it's one that signals that the artist wants to compromise what they like for what they think might have a broader appeal. At the end of the day, Kallio actively avoids that question, and he made something abrasive and horrifying and grotesque and mean and really, really fun. So sure, maybe Cruelty Squad hates you, maybe the world doesn't care about you, maybe you're a piece of shit and a fucked up detached loser who's ugly and smells like shit. You can either quit or find a way to kill this casino owner because our boss's boss lost some money. It's fun. It really weirdly is. But I have a question. What if it's not fun? What if it's not fun and you still can't stop playing? What if you hate it and it makes you worse and you want to beat it not because it's engaging or fulfilling, but because you just want one single win? Lobotomy Corporation is a game about suffering. This isn't just a joke about how hard the game is. The story, the decisions, the enemies, the challenges, they're all about needless, gratuitous suffering, and the deranged hope that with enough suffering, things can get better. The gameplay of Lobotomy Corporation is a management simulator where you are in charge of several existentially horrifying monsters called abnormalities. Every time you harvest energy from an abnormality, you choose one of 4 types of work. Some abnormalities can only have specific work types done, or bad things happen. Also, each abnormality has its own hyper-specific rules, which, if not followed, have a range of effects from minor problems to the actual biblical rapture. If you follow all the rules well and pick the right work and everything goes smooth, congrats! You now have energy for the company. If it didn't, well, good luck suppressing it. If your employees are strong enough, you might just be able to push it back into its little box. You might be thinking, well, that sounds easy enough, just follow the rules. Well, easier said than done, okay? See, for being a game about keeping track of as much information as possible, Lobotomy Corporation goes out of its way to constantly keep you in the dark. At the start of each day, the newest abnormality in your facility is labeled by a string of characters, and you know absolutely nothing about it, not even what it looks like before you pick it. After you start the day and you can see it, there is an information screen for each abnormality that you can slowly unlock bit by bit. The problem is, you unlock each bit of information by successfully performing work. So the info you so desperately need to successfully work is kept just out of your reach until the point where you most need it is over, with your only real life raft being the fact that you can restart any day as much as you want until you get it right. And you will. You'll assign an employee just a little bit too weak. Gotta retry the day. Forget about one tiny rule. Retry the day. One of the random encounters the game throws in just to be bullshit and ruin your day goes wrong, and it lets a bunch of abnormalities out. Of course, you gotta retry the day. Eventually, it'll happen so much over and over and over again that you'll start saying it's totally fine that you lost one of your best employees and like 3 of your other employees because you really, really just don't want to retry the day again. By doing this, the game makes you learn every lesson over and over, but the later it gets, the more the game changes basic things about the formula to the point where it just feels like it's messing with you. The late game abnormalities are needlessly mean. If you find the silent orchestra, for example, it breaks out on a good result. So you might think, interesting, an abnormality where you need a bad work result. And the answer there is, no, it also breaks out if you get a bad result. You need to get like exactly in the middle, and that's hard to do because the game determines work results by random chance. If you have a worker optimized to do average, there's still more than a 1 in 4 chance that it all just goes wrong anyways. But, you know, if it breaks out, you can just suppress it, right? It goes immune to all damage types except one. That type changes with each movement it plays, and at the end, it's immune to everything. It hits everywhere in the entire department, and even if you survive it, you lose all your progress for the day. And then later, you have to do all of that with 5 other guys just as bullshit, and you have to do it blurry. I want to draw contrast for a moment to something like Dark Souls. Lobotomy Corporation lacks the presentation and grandiosity of Dark Souls, and it's not difficult in a way that makes you feel powerful or accomplished. It's difficult in a way where you are the butt of the joke at all times. Information is dangled in front of you like a carrot on a stick, and the game is going for low blows while you try and figure it out. I don't think I really felt this game's hatred until I encountered abnormality 00576 pretty early on. Every single time I worked with it, it killed my employee and then it broke out, killing more employees. I reset days. I tried every work type. I tried working with strong employees, weak employees, in the middle employees, good gear, weak gear, every single time. It broke out and I restarted the day. I watched it kill every employee in my facility. In a moment of weakness, I looked at the wiki to figure out what I could possibly be doing wrong, and like a joke, I found out that my problem was that I could not look at it. That if it was on my screen, it would break out. I'd searched for 100 mechanical solutions to no avail just to find out I needed to move the screen. That me doing my best to figure out what this thing did was the reason I failed. After I got enough successes to unlock the creature's name, I learned that the source of this torment was literally named Schadenfreude. Before you start a single day of the game, Angela introduces herself to you. She's a robot assistant, created by the titular Lobotomy Corporation for the sole purpose of assisting you, the new manager of the facility. In your conversations during your first few days, you're showered with reassurance and praise and general niceties. On your fourth day, she informs you of two things. The first, that energy output has increased by 15% since you've joined, which she assures you is a very large amount. The second is that your first employee died yesterday. In fact, she doesn't just inform you of this, she congratulates you for it.
They had known the risks from the beginning. The company grows, fertilized by their sacrifices. It's as simple as that. I am sure they would have felt proud of themselves as they took their final breath.
She then offers you a bottle of champagne, and so early on into the game, you realize something. Despite being a robot made to help you, Angela hates you. She knows losing an employee would hurt you, and she knows congratulating you would make you feel worse, and she doesn't care a bit. It seems like in this moment, she wants you to hurt. At this point, I'm going to spoil Lobotomy Corporation's story immediately. If you'd like to put yourself through this and figure out what's on the other side for yourself, I suggest leaving now. Gone? Good. Angela was made to suffer. Lobotomy Corporation was founded by two scientists, a man named Ian and a woman named Carmen, in a world comprised of a single city where life is completely horrible. Monsters roam the streets. The corporations are even worse. The feeling of hope is completely foreign to the average person. Carmen's dream was to restore hope to the entire city with a master plan to grow the seed of light. The two discovered something called cogito, a substance created from the human nervous system. It can manifest a person's thoughts in physical form. With enough energy, they could maybe use this to spread a seed of hope into everyone's hearts. Their experiments with cogito, unsurprisingly, go poorly immediately. The first subject is a child who Carmen injects with cogito. He dies quickly and painfully, and an abnormality is created from his suffering. She can't bear the guilt after breaking the news to his sister, and Carmen attempts to take her own life. This is not a story where things get better. Ian grows obsessed and extracts Carmen's nervous system and spinal column from her still breathing body, using it as the new source of cogito to enact his grand and intricate script. One by one, the people around him die, and Ian saves these people's brains to put into robots called the Sephira, who make up the heads of each department. Importantly, he needs two main actors for his script. The first part, the clueless manager, will be played by himself. Ian prepares to wipe his own memories to become the new manager of the facility. This is who we are playing as. The other role needs to make sure the script is followed. And the only person trustworthy enough to do this is dead, a spinal column being all that remains. But that won't stop him. The game is, in my eyes, specifically about Angela's suffering. Her only purpose is to make sure Ian's script is completed. Ian created Angela from Carmen's consciousness, from her nervous system, and gave her everything she needed to follow that script. Angela has perfect memory. She can see everything happening in the facility at all times. She perceives time at 1/100th of the pace, and if the script ever deviates too much, it restarts back to the first day of the 52-day script. On top of all of that, Ian made it so she could still feel human emotions. These things can all be useful, but combined together, they create an endless pain with no escape. Let me put it this way. In a past life, Angela was a human woman who suffered so badly that she took her own life. Then she had a fragment of her consciousness shoved into an AI helper without her consent in a facility that makes people go insane, makes them face horrifying, terrible things unfit for human perception, a facility that literally feeds them to abnormalities if it means producing energy more smoothly. She perceives all of these things as if the world was moving in slow motion, and every single excruciating moment is, without fail, cataloged and stored in her memory. She is trapped to never be able to change things how she wants. She literally cannot deviate from the script except in small ways that at best nudge a memoryless Ian in the right direction. Any major deviation, and she needs to restart the cycle. Before the events of the game, Angela had tried to make friends with the department heads, tried to do good, but the script would not work that way, so she resets and restarts, forced to be worse. Her suffering is a necessary byproduct of the script. And the worst part of it all? She has to do it over and over and over again. Over and over, watch everybody perish at the hands of the abnormalities. Over and over, start again and watch everybody forget everything that happened. Over and over, stare as you're forced to help the clueless man who doesn't know that he did all of this to you. This is a game about Angela's suffering. Every day restart, every memory repository, every hard reset, Ian, our character, doesn't remember. Only Angela and ourselves, the players, do. The weird thing is, Lobotomy Corporation also tries to be a game about healing. In the later parts of the game, each Sephira goes through an emotional crisis, born of their tortured past, which we help them resolve and overcome. It's where the last part of the plan begins. The emotions they feel in this moment, the healing payoff to their suffering, this is what the Seed of Light will distribute to the people of the city. So you go about helping all of the Sephira in the unfairly hard boss fights of this game. You get the will to stand up straight, the fearlessness to keep on living, the courage to protect, the rationality to maintain discretion. All 9 Sephira confront their innermost hurt and come out with hope. This is the script. You can't prevent people suffering, but you can help them heal. But in this strange act of benevolence towards those it tortures, the script forgets about Angela. Or, more accurately, Angela is written out of the script. She does not get to take part in any kind of healing. She's watched her old friends suffer and die on 10,000 separate occasions. She's forced to manufacture their suffering so Ian can then manufacture their healing. She's treated with the importance of a tool, being discarded after she outlives her usefulness. Ian wants to forget about her. Ian wants to leave her behind.
So you do not want me to be at your side, even for the finale of this play. Those who shall face the end, together with you. It seems I am not among them.
After 50 days, the script completes exactly according to plan. A giant tree of light shoots into the sky above the megacity. It will shine for a full week and plant seeds of hope in all 6 billion people in the city. Every person. And as you watch it, after finishing every borderline impossible challenge this game throws at you, after looking up YouTube tutorials because you spent several hours on the Arbiter, failing over and over and over, after restarting hundreds of days, you realize you're done. Your suffering served its purpose. For just a moment, you get that ending from Dark Souls where you change the fate of the entire world because you persevered. And for that moment, you feel pride welling up inside you. Even though you suffered, even though you damned countless others to unspeakable suffering too, at least things will get better. But, of course, that moment passes, and that pride starts to feel hollow. After all, this is not a story where things get better. Of course, you would never be able to justify these means.
What a shame, though. There is one last thing. Your duties are finished, and so are mine. Therefore, I think I would like to continue living.
In one press of a button, everything you worked for is gone. Just 3 days into your week of healing, Angela takes all of the light for herself and leaves the city completely dark for the remainder. She takes all the people's hopes just for herself. In this last act of hostility towards the player, the game takes away what it dangled in front of you, that happy ending where your suffering was all worth it. It is horrifically fitting to watch as Angela refuses a peaceful rest, to watch as she realizes that the script is over, to watch as the first action she can truly call her own is to demolish the only thing that man wanted. And in this moment, I think it really clicked for me why I loved this game that hated me. See, this isn't even the bad ending. This was the good ending. This was the best thing the game could offer you. You had to do 9 different absurdly hard challenges just to see it. This game that made me reset day after day. The game where I had to decide that my current facility was not good enough to make it to the ending, so I had to start over from the beginning. This game that had a difficulty curve best described as vertical simply could not justify the idea of giving the player an ending where any of this pays off. The game spent every minute I had with it dragging me down to its level. It made me worse. It made me sacrifice employee after employee after employee. It made me hate every one of the department leads, even though it's not their fault. It made me spend so much time doing the same thing over and over and over, just hoping that the slight adjustments I made would make a difference this time. And at some point during the suffering, I realized I felt like Angela. And that's exactly what the game wanted. See, I think I've been kind of overblowing how difficult this game is. In fact, I think practically everybody has been. Don't get me wrong, there are insanely difficult parts that I never want to touch ever again. But the game is strangely forgiving in weird little ways. Retrying a day costs you absolutely nothing. If you picked abnormalities that are too hard or completely ruin your facility, you can rewind at 5-day intervals at absolutely no cost. You still keep all of the equipment and information that you gained over those 5 days. And when you feel the need to fully restart the game, you don't lose a thing either. All your equipment, all your information, everything you've gathered, it's all there. You just have to restart from the first day. The only thing it takes is your time, and your patience, and your employees. Yes, it makes you so upset. It wastes your time. It makes you regret your decisions. It hurts even when you succeed. But like any game, you never really lose until you give up. By the end, the hours you sunk into the game mirror the years Angela put into the script. Your helplessness to affect anything in ways outside of doing a good job feels like her. The way you slowly stop caring about your employees, your managers, your days, that feels like her too. That's what makes this moment so special to me, because I didn't realize any of that until this happened. Even though she ruined every single thing I worked for, the moment this smile came across her face, this smile that shows nothing but pure hatred for the people who made her suffer, I found myself smiling with her. When I play games like this, I find myself getting really obsessed and feeling like I have something to prove. Even though there's nobody watching me, nobody that really cares if I can do it or not, I get obsessed nonetheless. And the most recent obsession for me has been Library of Ruina, Lobotomy Corporation's sequel. If you want to hear a video of me talking about that game, as well as another video of me talking about every single game I cut from this video, the things I wanted to include but couldn't, I have a Patreon. It only costs $3 a month, and right now there are 4 bonus videos just for this one, and I'm planning on keeping that pace up. If there's a game I want to talk about but don't want to make a whole main channel video for, that's where it's going, and also, I'm just going to talk about every single video I make. Right now, there's also a little director's commentary of me and Ratfunk, who edited the first third-ish of this video, sitting down and talking about how we made the video. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, link in the description and my bio and kind of everywhere where I am. Thank you for even considering about clicking on it. And even if you don't, thank you so much for watching. Bye.